Hi, everybody. I'm going live with Dr. Terry Wahls, which is amazing. I am inviting her to join right now. Okay, let's see. Make sure that went through. Okay, Dr. Wahls, I invited you. Do you see me? Good morning, Mike. Thank you for joining. Erica, thank you for joining. Hi, hi, hi. I see waves. Thank you guys for being here. Just waiting on Dr. Wahls. She's here. We messaged. Give me a second. Everybody be patient. I'm inviting her again. There she is.
Hey, good morning.
Hi, morning. How are you?
I am marvelous.
Good, 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 good. How's the weather where you are?
Well, you know, it's cool. I was out for a brisk walk using some Nordic trekking poles, checking out what Nordic walking is all about. But, well, that actually is nice because you get, you know, upper body, lower body workouts. So it's a great start to my morning.
Beautiful. So kind of chilly there? Is it still chilly?
Yeah, it's still a little cool.
It's still a little cool. Well, I'm glad it's not super cool here. We're in the 70s now, so that's good.
Okay.
That's good. So for those of you that don't know, although most of you probably do, I'm going to give you a little brief short bio on Dr. Wahls. Dr. Terry Wahls is a professor at the University of Iowa where she conducts clinical trials testing the efficacy of diet lifestyle to treat multiple sclerosis and is the author of the Wahls Protocol, a radical new way to treat all chronic autoimmune conditions using paleo principles. You can pick up a one-page handout for the Wahls diet at terrywahls.com/diet. And she's here to talk about her new research study that she's working on. Would you like to start with that, Dr.
So absolutely.
Okay.
You know, my big, hairy, audacious goal is to change the standard of care so that everyone, once we're diagnosed with MS or any neuroimmune problem, we're immediately told, you got to address diet. Diet needs to be part of your wellness plan. And to do that, we need to have randomized, controlled trials that study the effect of diet. So I'm thrilled that we're doing that. We have a study comparing a ketogenic diet, the modified paleo diet that many people think of as the Wahls diet, and a usual diet. And we are able to do a study that will last 2 years. People come in, we do the walking assessment, vision, hand, eye, and we do a research MRI, so no contrast, and we ask questions about quality of life, energy, etc. Then we randomize you, so you have an equal chance of getting into the ketogenic arm, the paleo arm, or usual diet, which means you get to continue eating whatever your usual diet is. Then we bring you back in 3 months, repeat the walking, hand, and questionnaire assessments. And then we bring you back 24 months after the first visit and we repeat everything. What we are at the really most interesting question that we're asking is, if we teach people how to eat better, can we get the rate of brain volume loss to match healthy aging? Because one thing that happens when you're diagnosed with MS, our brain volumes shrink much more rapidly than occurs with healthy aging. In fact, 3 times as fast, which is why we have more anxiety, more depression, we're more vulnerable to cognitive decline, problems thinking, which makes it more difficult to continue working. Even if we're lucky enough that we don't have a manual job, you have to think a lot at work. You have to,
Right.
navigate all those social and work relationships, and that gets progressively more difficult. In my clinical practice, I see people do really, really well with getting rid of the brain fog, improving their mood. And so we are very optimistic that the intervention arms will be able to get them back to healthy rates of brain volume loss, that is, healthy brain aging. That will be, the most dramatic finding. Our primary outcome is, can we improve quality of life in the intervention arms? And people ask me, can I pick which diet I want to be in? That's a different kind of study. That's more of an observational study, and that does not generate strong enough evidence to change clinical practice. And since my goal is to change clinical practice, to build the evidence so that the neurologists everywhere, all around the world will be able to say with confidence, oh my goodness, diet matters so much.
Right. Well, yeah, when I was diagnosed, and this story, 19 years ago, they just told me I'd end up in a wheelchair one day, and I walked out of their office and looked at my mom and said, no, I won't, and went on a day with diet, honestly, and homeopathy. And back then it was not known at all.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. When I was diagnosed in 2000, so 23 years ago, there was the Swank diet. And I read that, and I was already doing a very low-fat vegetarian. So I thought, okay, at least I'm doing something. But for me, that did not work out. And within 3 years, I'm in a tilt recline wheelchair, and it's very, and I've had already 20 years of trigeminal neuralgia, which have been getting progressively worse. So I see a very, bad trajectory.
Right.
For
right.
And that's when I decided, am I really doing all that I can? And fortunately for me, I decided, well, actually, I'm not. I could at least be reading. And so I spent a lot of time reading. At that time, all I could find were animal studies using natural products. So I decided that mitochondria were key, and I would create a supplement cocktail for my mitochondria. Helpful. I certainly felt better on it, but I was still in the wheelchair, still getting worse, although more slowly. The magic occurred. And I'm sort of embarrassed now by how long it took me to have this aha. So 4 years into it, I finally had this aha, like, what if I redesign my paleo diet that I've been doing already for 5 years, based on the list of supplements that I was taking, like, where are they in the food supply? So, that's several more months of research. And then I had a very specific, a very structured paleo diet that was designed about what to eat as opposed to just what to avoid. And that's when the magic happened.
Right.
It was dramatic. Within a year, I went from being unable to sit up more than 10 minutes. And for everyone who's listening, I now know when I go back and if you read what's the definition of being bedridden, is unable to sit up more than 10 minutes. So I was severely disabled. Now, fortunately, my mind was still clear. And 1 year later, my fatigue is gone, my mood is certainly better, but most remarkably, I was able to start biking again, and I was able to do an 18.5 mile bike ride with my family. Of course, we're all crying. We're all crying the first time I do my bike ride around the block. When I do that 18.5 mile bike ride, my 16-year-old boy, he's crying. My 13-year-old daughter, she's crying. Jackie's crying. I'm crying. And, that really changes how I think about disease and health. It will change the way I practice medicine. My chief of medicine at the university, who's a rheumatologist, So he understands really deeply what a big deal this is. And he and my chief of staff at the VA, they really want me to test this in other people. So the first thing I'm told to do is get a case report written up. Then we are doing this with a few other folks. Then we do a case series where you write up, what you did and how it turned out for people. Then we do that small safety and feasibility study, doing my intervention with others with secondary primary progressive MS, and their quality of life improves, their fatigue goes down, their thinking, verbal memory, nonverbal memory, all improve. And for half, and this is really quite remarkable, so half of these folks have clinically meaningful improvement in walking function. So in secondary and primary progressive MS, half of those folks improve. Stunning. And as a group, their walking metrics were stable. With progressive MS, you expect 10 to 15% get worse every year, or the 10 to 15% worsening in all the measures every year. So the fact that the walking stayed stable, that was really quite remarkable. We then, because for a variety of reasons, we then focused on just studying diet and we started doing our research in relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis. We've done 7 studies. This is our 8th study. Consistently, we find that people can implement the diet. That the biggest side effect is if you're overweight or obese, you lose weight, get back to your healthier weight that you had in your early 20s without being hungry. So I kept having to do these safety reports because people were losing weight without being hungry. And so we have to refer them back to their primary care doc, say, weight loss is a common side effect, but look your patient over, make sure there's nothing else going on. Right. And I still have that. I still have to do safety reports on how many people are losing weight. Wow. In my current studies. Wow. The other thing that we see is if you're on prescription meds, we warn people and their primary care team, be sure to keep monitoring their blood pressure so that their blood pressure will probably improve. And if they're on blood pressure medication, they'll probably need to have those doses reduced and perhaps eliminated. In my clinical practice, people who are on blood sugar medication, we have to watch blood sugars because, again, as everything is working better in our cells, blood sugar control often improves, and any blood sugar medication would need to be reduced. Right.
Well, you have truly, you getting diagnosed with MS is truly a gift to the world. I will say that.
It's a gift.
It's a gift. Following your soul's purpose. You're helping literally people around the world, and it's incredible what you've discovered and what you do.
When I first started talking about this, the idea was radical. People thought I was dangerous, that I was creating false hope. Right. And man, I was condemned, banned as a speaker by some organizations. But fortunately, my chief of medicine and my chief of staff believed in me. They wanted me to keep doing the research, so we did our research. We got our papers published, and as we get more and more papers published, and more researchers are citing our work, I've gone from crazy and dangerous to brilliant, the grandmother of dietary research. And I tell my medical students, the PhD students, the postdoctoral fellows that work with us, that if you want to change clinical practice, it's a 30-year journey. When you have a really new idea, people will question it. You'll have a very hard time getting your first papers published because it's such a new concept. You'll have to go into a low impact journal, and that's fine. Just get the first one out and keep publishing. And you will slowly get into higher and higher impact journals. If your ideas are valid, the subsequent experiments will be easier, and you will make the case. So it's a 30-year journey. I'm 15 years into it. We now present our research at the leading MS clinical and research meeting, the Consortium of MS Centers. The first time we got an abstract in was 4 years ago, so we'll be there for a fifth time. We have 4 research abstracts that have been submitted. The fifth one just went in for the late-breaking abstract. My postdocs has 4 oral presentations already.
Wow.
So, and now I'm so excited. There's a special symposium that is dietary research update, where 5 of us are giving presentations on diet and MS. We are changing the standard of care.
Yeah.
It is no longer crazy to say, oh my God, you have to fix your diet. Now we are getting closer. But
yeah.
In order to continue making progress, we need these randomized controlled trials. We need people like you and everyone who's listening to this to please consider being part of the study.
Yeah. I have the link in the post below, so everybody will have how to apply for the research study.
Yeah. And and I want everyone, even if the people we're looking for are relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis, ages 18 to 70. You have to come to Iowa City, Iowa, month 0, month 3, month 24. You have to be randomized because that's the requirement to have a high quality study. So I know that if there's a difference between the 3 groups, we can use some historical controls for some of our data, and we'll use that for the MRIs. But, again, it's my mission to change the standard of care, which means I have to do the highest research, which means we need a control arm. And people ask, if I'm already doing a diet, let's say I'm already on a ketogenic diet or already on a paleo diet, or I'm on a Mediterranean diet, you can still be in the study, even if you've been using diet, that's fine. What you have to be willing to do is, if you get randomized to one of the intervention arms, the keto arm or the paleo arm, that you're okay going on that diet.
Right.
So if you're on a keto diet now and you get randomized to the usual arm, fine, you get to keep eating your usual diet. If you're on the keto diet and you get randomized to the paleo arm, you've agreed that I'm going to quit being paleo or quit being keto. I will eat the paleo diet because that's the diet I've been assigned to.
Right. Yeah. Which I imagine would be hard for some people to agree to.
Correct.
But in certain cases, it might actually, if they get one that suits them and their body, then it could change their lives in 2 years.
It is certainly a gift to us, a gift to the world, to give us 2 years of your life. Mm-hmm. And we really don't know, is the keto diet better? Is the paleo diet better? We don't know.
Right.
And there are reasons to think the keto diet is better. There are reasons to think the paleo diet is better. When we did what's called a network meta-analysis that looked at all of the diet studies that have been done, and they're able to compare 8 diets: the keto diet, paleo diet, Mediterranean diet, anti-inflammation diet, fasting patterns, and calorie restriction. And then there's a usual diet in there as well. And a low-fat diet. Mm-hmm. And what the network meta-analysis lets you compare all 3, and there's a statistical way to rank order the most effective to the least effective diet. For reducing fatigue, There was paleo diet, Mediterranean diet, and low-fat diet. With the paleo diet being about 50% more effective than either Mediterranean or low-fat. For improving quality of life, it was paleo diet, Mediterranean diet, and the paleo diet was twice as effective as the Mediterranean diet. However, they're all small studies.
Right.
The study that we're doing now will have 156 people in it, so we'll be able to have much stronger evidence. It's also 2 years in duration.
Right.
Again, lets you get much stronger evidence.
Do your doors close at a certain time? Like, are you ongoing?
So we keep recruiting until we get to 156.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm about not quite halfway there.
Okay.
I'm projecting that I'll be recruiting for, likely a year to 18 months. So I may ping you again in 6 months to say, you know what, I'm still recruiting. So can I come back and put out a pitch for more people again?
Absolutely. It's anytime you can come back, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Anytime. So let me ask you this. Top 3 things someone can do right now, whether they were recently diagnosed or have had it a long time, what are your top 3 things?
Okay. So, and I want to make clear, this would be great if you have optic neuritis, clinically isolated syndrome, MS, or any of the other autoimmune issues that have psychological or neurological symptoms.
Okay.
So improve the quality of your diet. Sit down with your family and say, look, we need to do a better job because the food that we're eating is going to become the brain that we all have tomorrow. And I want the best brain possible.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, having food that hasn't been as thoroughly processed. And by that, I mean, look at meat, vegetables, so they won't be processed. But if you look at grain products that have been processed into flour to make cereal, to make bread, to make pastas, a lot of nutrition's been stripped out by the time to make that flour.
Right.
So I'd rather you have rice and beans or meat and vegetables, salad greens, that would be really good for you.
Right.
So reduce the flour products and have more vegetables, meats. If you like beans and rice, that's fine. You also might look at what you're drinking. Water is a really good thing.
Right. That's what I have right here.
Water is really good. Tea is good. Yep. If you like coffee, coffee's good. Herbal teas are good. Sugar sweetened beverages are, again, calories that are robbing you and your brain of important nutrition. So I encourage people to have more water, more teas. You can have herbal teas, green tea, black tea, coffee, according to your enjoyment. And then things that you've decided that you want to reduce or eliminate, get them out of your line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
Because the tobacco company bought up the big food, and they know how to make foods that are so tasty that they're called hyper palatable. And food additives are added to them to get us to overconsume that food, to create cravings and addictions. Therefore, I assure you, if that yummy, delicious food is in your line of sight, it will find your mouth. You'll be chewing and you'll be eating it before you know it. So yeah, have this conversation with your family. What foods do I want to increase in my diet? What foods do I want to decrease in my diet? In the foods that you'd like to reduce or eliminate, get them out of your eating environment. That will help you out a lot.
Yeah, I love those. That's great tips. I actually, in February, I called it Fresh February, and I told my husband, I said, we're literally not eating anything that comes out of a box.
Yeah.
And you know me, I don't eat anything bad anyway, but like even the occasional almond cracker, right?
Yeah.
I was like, no, it's out. So I took all that out of the pantry. I was like, fresh February, we're eating only veggie, like everything fresh. And so we did well. We did it well.
Yeah. You know, and I certainly understand, but that for many of us, this is a journey. And the first step of the journey is I'll go gluten-free, dairy-free, and I'll use these processed products, and I'll swap out food. And then as you get a little further in the journey, reduce the processed foods. You'll save a lot of money just to have, vegetables.
Yeah.
If you like beans and rice, I'm fine with that. And have fewer and fewer of these very delicious, and I agree, they're very delicious, gluten-free pastas, gluten-free crackers. They are yummy. They're expensive, and they're processed, and they're okay as a treat. But I'd much rather you have some chicken, some fish, a little bison, pork, well, whatever meat source that you're good with. Or if you're a vegetarian, beans and rice and vegetables.
Right.
Because those will build a better brain for you.
Absolutely. I will be a testimonial for you as well. I'm not in your study, but I was a patient of Dr. Wahls'. I had the pleasure of going to her clinic in July of last year. And you said to me, you made me cry. And I just want to say, because,
forgive me.
No, in a good way. It was happy tears. You validated what I had done for 19 years, Dr. Wahls. You validated me. You tapped my leg a few times and you said, you've got to give yourself credit, Megan. And you did. You said that to me. And I want you to know it really hit home. And you validated the fact that I had been on this journey pretty much alone for 19 years. I had gone gluten-free, sugar-free, everything. Way before I knew about you. This was 19 years ago. And I guess 19 years ago, I went gluten-free. Then 5 years later, I went dairy-free. I didn't eat much dairy anyway. Then I went sugar-free. So eventually it was like I was everything free. Then I found out about you after I had my worst MS episode exacerbation ever. And somebody sent me your TED Talk. And that's how I discovered you. So that was like 5 years ago. Someone sent it to me. So yes. Dr. Wahls is amazing. If you can get in on this study, I would get in on it. And I'm so grateful for you. I'm grateful to call you a doctor and a friend. And
yes. And to everyone who's listening, tell your friends, you may know other people with MS, have them screen. And even if you have progressive MS, I want you to complete the screening so you can be on our patient registry. Because we're writing grants all the time, and we're working on grants for progressive MS. So I'm very optimistic that we'll have progressive multiple sclerosis studies as well. So yes,
awesome.
Please be part of our. So people were asking. You could go to my website, terrywahls.com, Terry, Wahls, WAHLS.com, and there'll be a gold banner across the top. Click on that. You fill out a survey. In the survey, you give us a little information about yourself so we can contact you and get the next step going, because we need to have a permission to talk to your neurologist to confirm the diagnosis. Oh, I see we have somebody from Chile. Yeah, very cool.
He's been a follower for a while. Hi, Ruben. Awesome. So yes, and I will put in the post below, I will also have a link, and you will be a collaborator on the post. Wonderful. So it'll be on your Instagram.
Wonderful.
So the link will be in the post with information that your office gave me about the study, so people can get involved.
Yeah. Yes. We're on a mission. I love what you're doing as well. And man, I took very intense criticism for many, many, many years. And so, but I felt morally obligated to tell my life, tell my story, and let people know that we can always do something to make our lot in life a little bit better. God,
Yeah.
that's so cool. I'm seeing all these international.
Switzerland, I saw Chile, I saw Poland, I think, Romania, maybe. Yeah.
Canadian flag there. So all the international folks do get on the patient registry, because we're also writing proposals for survey-based studies. So I encourage everyone who has optic neuritis, clinical isolated syndrome, progressive MS, relapsing MS, to complete the survey, which is very brief, just so you can be part of our disease registry. And then if you're eligible for the current study, Efficacy of Diet and Quality of Life, we'll contact you and begin the next process.
That's awesome. Love that. Oh, I don't want to say goodbye, but I think you have to say goodbye, don't you? Hello from Texas.
Yeah, that is true. I have many more interviews and podcasts to keep doing, because changing the world is a full-time job.
We're breaking the mold, Dr. Wahls. That's what I like to call it. That's what I like to say I'm doing with the MS stage, is we're breaking the mold.
We are breaking the mold.
Yes. I love that.
I love that. Well, I love what you're doing. Keep up the wonderful work, and we will see you soon.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for telling us more about your study. I love this. I appreciate you, and we'll definitely see you soon.
All right. Bye now.
Bye.